up, YouTube? It's your boy JB, and we're here with the review for American Horror Story Season 10, Episode 7. This is the alien version. The episode was titled Take Me to Your Leader. Now, I don't know how long this review is going to be. It might not be that long because this version of this part of the double feature, I don't know how much I'm going to be here for it. But we're going to do it. I just don't know how long I'm going to stick with it, right? So, before we get into the review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and are not subscribed, I need you guys to stop taking me on this date. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell button, share the video, hit all the buttons, light them up on the channel. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into American Horror Story. So, without further ado, let's discuss this show. Alright, so the episode, we start up in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 1954. So we see, I was gonna say like a Stepford wife, but I think she's just a traditional 1950s American housewife, right? With her little white on, her dress, her heels. She's cooking, and her little boy, I think his name was Timmy. The little boy was outside, playing, actually on his bike. He noticed a dust storm. I'm like, man, you don't see that dust storm? I'm like, you don't see that dust storm, right? Like, it's got a funnel. But, she didn't notice it, right? So, so she's in there doing her Susie Homemaker, right? She's got a record playing on her record. So it's spinning, right? And then, mind you, like I just said, Timmy said there's a little dust storm out there, right? So then she just notices that, the clock is going backwards, the record, it stops, and then it reverses. I'm like, oh, what in the hell is going on? So I'm just going to assume that little Timmy got abducted, right? So little Timmy came in, and he, she was looking at him, and then his eyes, I'm like, oh, no, boo, we got to kill, like I said about Alma, the kids, kill them. Once you realize that they are gone, we got to get rid of them. So then the husband came home, right? Her eyes did the same thing after the husband came in. She was levitating, by the way. And boom! Blew his head off. I was like, oh. Okay. So we're still in 1954, right? So we move over to Palm Springs, California, right? And we see President Eisenhower. They were calling him Ike. He's on the golf course, right? So then I guess when the Secret Service come up to him, and they're telling him about this, basically a UFO that was spotted out in, was it New Mexico? It was somewhere. I don't know if they even said. It might be, right? It might be in New Mexico, but they spotted it. He asked, was it Russian? They said no, but they did take it down, right? So then we see as Ike was talking to his wife, who was being portrayed by Sarah Paulson, right? So he's telling her he's getting ready to go to the base, and she's asking, like, why are you going to the base? He says, oh, I got something with my tooth, ate some bad duck, fucked up my tooth, gotta go get a crown put on that baby, and we'll be back. She's like, as long as you've been in office this long and you're still terrible at lying. She's like, I know when you go on these kind of trips, you're having, your extracurricular activities. I'm like, oh, so is he a philandering man? Is he like Hunter from BET's The Oval? Tyler Perry's The Oval, right? Because we all know Hunter is a philanderer. So they go to the crash site, right? Once they get to the crash site, they do inform Eisenhower that there is a body there, but they can't really identify what said body is. So they show him, they take him up to the body. They unzip the body bag. They don't show us what the body looks like, but he see it, and he tells them to get it out of there, right? So they do that. So then another guy comes up, and he says, we found something, sir. So they run over there, and there's this woman that's butt-ass naked, right? With these spiral, there's etches in her body. I'm like, girl, what the hell has happened to you, right? So then they ask the woman, who are you? Who does this woman say she is? She says she's Amelia Earhart. I'm like, Amelia Earhart, the woman that was flying around the world and never came back? When I think about Amelia Earhart, I'm not laughing about that. Have you guys ever saw the episode of Family Guy where Peter was watching the show, was watching Maude, and um, it was an extended version of the Maude theme song, and there was this one part where Amelia Earhart flew a lot of airplanes, except for that one time that she didn't come back. I was just thinking about, I thought about that. That was the first thing that I thought about, right? Was that from Family Guy. So I'm going to pause here, you guys, and I'm going to move forward. Yeah, this review's not going to be that long. I can tell you that right now. All right, you guys. So we see Amelia, right? So she's at this hospital, I guess you would say. And she's just basically telling, President Eisenhower about what happened on her last flight, right? And now, mind you, her last flight was in the 1930s. And at this point, we're in 1954. So it's been over 20 something. It's been over 20 years at this point, right? It's been close to, well, yeah, it's been, they said she's been missing for 20 years, right? So 1930, the 1930s. We're in the 1950s. And she's telling you about a flight from almost 20 years ago, right? So she's telling them about what happened. And then she just kind of pauses, right? And then she asks Eisenhower, who is he? Because see, her mind is still stuck in 1930s. So she's thinking that is it Franklin Delano Roosevelt? It was, she said Rose, I think it's Franklin Roosevelt. Yeah, because she said Freddie. Why did they call him Freddie? I'm going to go off on just a little bit of a tangent real quick, right? Certain people, when they come up with these abbreviations for their names, I never understand them. Like Franklin, Freddie. Here's one that I definitely don't get. And if you guys understand it, please explain it to me in the comment section. Why does a guy named why do most people call a Gerald Jerry? I don't understand that. I don't understand where Jerry and Gerald come from. How those go hand in hand. Because somebody asked me that a woman asked me that a few years ago when I was working at Hearst, right? She came up to me. She's like, "Oh, what's your name?" I said, "Gerald." She says, "Oh, do you go by Jerry for short?" I said, "No, I don't." She says, "Oh, I'm just going to call you Jerry for short." I said, "No, you're not. You're not going to call me Jerry because I'm not going to answer that." I'm like, my mom named me Gerald. She's never called me Jerry a day in my life. I don't go by Jerry. I don't know who Jerry is. You're not going to call me something that I'm not. I don't go by. Don't disrespect me. You want me to call you prune-faced white woman? Then don't do it. Sorry, you guys. Didn't mean to do that. So, yeah. So then we see as two people are getting ready to dissect this so then we see as two guys are about to dissect this being that they got from the crash site, right? So they start to cut it open. I'm like, wow, what kind of shit is this? It was interesting. Now, when they opened it up, it had no internal organs, right? So then one of the guys, he either he went deeper or he looked deeper into the cavities of that body, and boom, something flew on his face, and he's trying to get it off. So the one guy gets it off, and it's on his face. Then both of their faces and both of their heads explode. I'm like, what in the hell? So then the housewife from earlier, we see her levitating through and boom, just blowing people's heads off. So then she comes up to Eisenhower. Eisenhower is trying to tell her how things are going to work. She says, "Oh, no. That's not how this works, Mr. President. You are going to listen to us." And it went to commercial. Oh, God, is it going to go back and forth? I'm just thought about that. Is it going to go back and forth between the present day and 1954? If it is, that's going to take a lot out on me. But we'll definitely get through it. But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. So let's move to the present day. So we are introduced to four new characters. We're introduced to Cal. I know Cal because he played the Yellow Power Ranger on Power Rangers actually, no, it's been about 4 years since he played on Power Rangers. I know him from Power Rangers. So his name is Cal. His actual real name is Nico. So we meet Cal, we meet Kendall, we meet Troy, and we meet Jamie. So Cal and Troy, they're boyfriends and it was interesting the way that actually Cal as an ass was being a bit of a douchebag to the waitress, right? I guess he went to Japan, so he feels like he is, cultured at this point. So he's asking her for this and this and this and that, being a dick to her. So, like I said, Cal and Troy relationship. Actually, he said at first they're fucking, but then he said no, we're dating. So then Jamie talks about a guy that she's been messing with. She met, right? He didn't have a condom, so they didn't have sex. So he went down on her. He came up, did his business on her chest, and it felt like acid. I'm like, oh wow, that is not good. So then we see them all on their phones, and it's so interesting, right, when you think about it, because what Kendall was talking, although was annoying and a brainiac, right, what Kendall was talking about was actually very interesting, right? Because in this day and age, when you go out to dinner and stuff, everyone is so glued to their phones, right? And I'm like, how are we? And when me and my cousin went to Vegas, right, we were all on when we would go out to eat, we would be on our phones so much. I'm like, and I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? But we would talk. But I'm like, damn, we spend a lot of time in our phones, right? And that sometimes there are times when I try to just get away from my phone. If I'm not doing YouTube and stuff like that, most times I just try to get away from my phone as much as I can. And she was just talking about, how it feels to be, talking about being free of technology and the phones, right? So they all decided they're going to go camping, right? And they're going to leave their cell phones at home, right? So they go camping, right? And at first, everything went smoothly, right? So they woke up the next morning, and they were going to go to the pond that Troy spotted, right? But on their way there was no pond. So they were like, you know what? Maybe we just took a wrong turn somewhere. He's like, no, the pond was here yesterday, right? So then they start to smell something like, oh my God, what is that smell? So it's something dead, right? So then they keep walking, and they walk into some cows. And the cows are cut basically those cows are cut straight through, right? They're cut straight through. There's no blood there. I'm like, oh wow, that is interesting. Whoever did the special effects for that, kudos to you guys. So Kendall touches one of the cows, right? It opens his eyes. Moo, baby, I would have got out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry, which is what they did, right? They took off, right? So then they're driving, but then I noticed it's dark, right, at this point. But when they found the cows, it was light. Bitch, I would say, you know what? It's time for us to go. When we saw them cows, I would have left everything. I mean, all they had was a tent. Y'all left y'all phones at home, so y'all didn't have much with you. I would have been like, you know what? The hell with this. Let's go. So they're driving, right? And then their car stops. And then we see big bright lights shining right onto them, right? And then, so how it was Cal was driving the car, Troy was in the passenger seat, and then on the back passenger seat was Jamie, and then over here in the driver's side was what's her name? Kendall, right? So when that happened, in the windows you start seeing tentacles coming. I'm like, oh, what the hell is going on here, right? So then nothing, right? So when they all come to, they've all switched positions at this point, right? So Troy is now over in the driver's seat, Cal is in the passenger seat, and Kendall has moved over to the passenger side, but there's no Jamie at this point. So they start the car up and they start driving. Jamie is in the middle of the road, and they're like, "How did you get here?" She's like, "I don't know." I'm like, okay, very interesting, right? So then they get home. So the next day, Kendall is talking to the guy that she's been having sex with in the class that she took with the class that she took. So Kendall wants to get on the computer, and he's telling her, "Oh no, you can't do that, right?" So she drops the phone and goes and throws up. So then she's talking to Jamie. So she and Jamie are having the same symptoms at this point, right? They think it's, she's like, and Jamie's like, the only time that I've only had symptoms like this is when I was 19 and I was pregnant. And Kendall was like, but I'm on the pill. Yeah, me and him have sex a lot, but I'm on the pill. So she's like, I'm gonna go to the store, right? So then she went to the store, went over to Kendall's, and they took the pregnancy test. and they're both pregnant. So then we see Cal and we see Troy, right? So they're in bed. Not Troy, but Cal asked Troy, when was the last time he ate his ass? He's like, it's been about a week. So he said that, he was eating a football player's ass when he was in high school and he got something. So he think that it's that. So then he kisses Troy and Troy runs to the bathroom to throw up, right? So then we see Troy and Cal, they're over at Kendall's, Kendall's place, right? So Kendall takes some water out of the refrigerator place because they told him that they've been vomiting, right? She takes the water, put it on the counter, right? And Jamie's like, that's not possible. Because she thinks that, they've been, they were abducted by aliens, right? So everyone is taking a pregnancy test, right? Every single one of them are pregnant. I'm like, oh wow, that is interesting. Kind of like Amelia Earhart. Amelia Earhart went missing, came back, and she was 2 months pregnant. All right, you guys. So that's it for me. That's it for this episode. I don't know how long this video is, but it'll be up. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. I don't know how I feel about it. Leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified. Once everything else, share the video, and until next, you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. All right. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.